Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro. It's time to update our Oscar predictions. New number one is The Irishman, the declared frontrunner by everybody. In fact, Gold Derby has it at number one. And you might be saying, oh, well, Marriage Story was number one last time. We don't always get what we want, do we? Christmas doesn't always come. And that's a lesson for life.
I don't see Marriage Story getting like that hype that it needs. I don't know if they're going to see it as the Kramer versus Kramer drama or if it's going to be like Call Me By Your Name or Roma, where it's like more of like the art film.
Because, movies like Sideways, they don't win it. They just don't win it.
Yeah, it's just hard for it to win.
Jojo Rabbit number 3 also think that this is potential winner here. Potential Green Book upset.
Right now on my computer, I have opened the Gold Derby Time Machine, an excellent resource, to see what was, out front at this exact time last year. This exact time last year, Green Book was number 5. And yet, it came all the way up and won.
And then number 4 is Parasite. Very high. You might say, oh, can this movie win Best Picture? Everybody I know loves it. This is the thing I like to call wishful thinking. Christmas don't always come. The Oscars don't always give us what we need to happen. You're getting your hopes up too high if you think this is winning, but...
This is insanely high, though, Cole. For this to be ranked at number 5 on the Gold Derby polls is insane.
So we should be happy that it's just a lock. Number 5 is 1917. Maybe can enter the winning conversation if it becomes a director frontrunner. Then maybe we can see it jump in the winning conversation. 6 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This movie's not winning, okay? Let's take you back. Last year was A Star Is Born. The year before it was Dunkirk. The early frontrunners that get declared as frontrunners and then were never actually gonna win.
Even La La Land, which was the legitimate frontrunner, was the frontrunner for so long that it tortoise and the haired it at the last moment with Moonlight.
But the love for Hollywood can't even compare with this top 4 here. Even Jojo Rabbit, which might be divisive with critics, look around your theater when that movie's playing and just watch how people are responding to it. 7, Little Women re-enters the list. We were like, oh, is this going to be a flop or not? According to early reactions, which aren't super reliable, they're a little more hyped up than usual. I think this movie's going to end up like high 70s on Metacritic, maybe low 80. Tearjerker, emotional, has acting performances we can nominate, a couple technicals we can nominate. So it could be kind of a safe movie to get in there, or it's a movie that's good but doesn't have the passion to get into Best Picture. It's not
I think enough people will love this movie that it will get into Best Picture, but it won't win. I don't think everybody's going to be screaming that it's the best movie of the year.
At 8, we have The Two Popes. This movie...
That's pretty high.
...has now entered my top 10. Listen, here's why it's high, okay? There's little film festivals going on that show all the Toronto movies after Toronto, and The Two Popes won an audience award there, and it was the runner-up at a different one. Marriage Story, Jojo Rabbit, and The Irishman were competing for this. The only movie in the past several years that hasn't been nominated that won was Mudbound. Look at how Two Popes is joining this rank, okay? This could be the one that people are underestimating right now. You have 2 actors you can nominate. You got a screenplay lock.
It just seems just as likely as the next few you've got going here.
Apparently
it's a crowd pleaser. What can we say?
Another crowd pleaser is Ford v Ferrari, which is coming in at number 9. It doesn't have all those 10 out of 10 ratings, but does it need them? Maybe it can just please the hell out of audiences, give them a little high octane movie that reminds them of classic Oscar bait Hollywood films that they don't see anymore.
This movie is actually on the right trajectory to enter in the Best Picture race. Take Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge at this point in the last year, number 17 on Gold Derby. This movie needs to come out in the box office before we start seeing it rise up the list.
I'm trying to look out for that IMDb score because that's really what predicted Hacksaw Ridge.
And also Bohemian Rhapsody was number 12 last year. Nobody really, not many people thought that was coming. We don't really know what's going to happen until it starts entertaining people and winning people over.
Number 10 is Joker. It's teetering. Maybe it has the Bohemian Rhapsody passion and it just gets in. Who cares about the critics? Who cares about the controversy? Or the controversy taints it and, maybe the Academy's a little highbrow and they like to side with the people who hate the movie.
I think it's another rule breaker movie where you can't really see where it's going. You just don't know until people start nominating shit. And Joker manages to be in the conversation in several categories. Everybody in the Academy is going to see this. Are we being naive to think that a good portion of them, 5%, won't think it's the best movie of the year. I really don't know. I think a lot of people seem to love this movie.
It is the second highest rated movie of the decade on IMDb behind Inception. You know, maybe it ends up like Interstellar, where the audience just loved it, but the critical consensus sort of happened to be more what the Academy like voted on. 11 is Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I'm not sure it gets in off its screenplay and supporting actor nominations, because that's really all it's going to get, folks. In many ways, people are saying, oh, you know, I cried, but like, of course I did, like 8 out of 10.
I don't think it's as big as these last 3 films you've mentioned, and I think you should have Bombshell above this, Cole. Considering Bombshell's getting 2 to 3 acting nominations.
3.
People think Nicole Kidman actually might steal. Yeah, they actually think that she might steal the 3rd one. It could pull an Irishman, bitch.
People are starting to become comfortable with the idea that it just sticks to the acting nominations. It could pull off a picture, but is it really going to get in for screenplay? Like, that's still iffy.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not a lock.
And The Farewell drops off the top 10.
Ouch.
July early on hype, maybe hurt it a little bit. A lot of people haven't even heard of the movie. Awkwafina doesn't need to be nominated, so like they could snub Awkwafina and snub the movie. They could even snub it for screenplay. They could snub, like, everybody's snubbable. I don't know if this little indie movie has enough horse coal power to make it up that hill, like the little engine that could. A la Beale Street last year, as we remember. Beale Street, big hype with the critics, and then
Little Engine, they couldn't.
I personally could see how people would find the film to be too slow.
If you want to make a case for it, it's that this movie is the Florida Project.
14 is Queen and Slim. There's weird early buzz that it's like not amazing, but then there's also early buzz that it is amazing, and I'm so confused. Maybe the critics are going to feel differently than these first initial reactions. This movie might end up having people who think it's a masterpiece, and then a lot of people think it's like, okay. I'm starting to think that it's going to be like in the 70s, but it's going to have some like 5-star rating.
Yeah.
I am still curious. We got to wait for that premiere at AFI
Very, very
Fest to find out what's really going on here. And then Just Mercy, which is the crowd pleaser wannabe Oscar bait movie that a lot of people still really love. I don't know, maybe it's not captivating people as much as the other contenders. Are not talking about it as much, and the reviews are pretty underwhelming.
Waves is just gonna have a tougher time as like the kind of indie that it is. It couldn't get that boost at the film festivals. It's gonna be even harder to get that boost at the box office.
And Avengers Endgame at 17.
I think you actually should be keeping this here. We had Hell or High Water at number 15 at this point in the year. People didn't realize, like, they didn't know what that movie had going for it. And likewise, Mad Max, also number 15 at this point in the year. Even though we knew that everyone was saying it's the best movie of the year, we still didn't think it was Oscar caliber because we didn't think that could happen. We said we couldn't do it.
Mad Max and Black Panther got in because they had to get nominated for all the technical awards. Endgame does not and probably will not. Even Marvel fans are like, yeah, Endgame was great, but like, doesn't need the Oscars. Even the ones who love the movie are saying that. It's actually like, okay, all right, then we won't nominate it, I guess. Knives Out is 18. I don't know, like, imagine it just becomes like a huge ass sensation when it's released. Lighthouse 19. There are a lot of people who say, hey, this movie's a great movie. Why can't we nominate this? And it's because it's not up their alley. Too weirdo for them. Go find a movie that is this weird that gets nominated for Best Picture. Richard Jewell is probably going to be well reviewed, and it's going to get a little boost, but I don't see how it's like substantial enough to be a Best Picture nominee.
If one movie can just sneak out of nowhere, like, that's the movie.
The Report has had this kind of like slow death the whole year. I mean, I think it's considered a good movie, and it just doesn't seem to have anything like original that it's driving off of to get this nomination.
And we're not even compelled by Adam Driver's performance in this movie because we have Marriage Story.
Best Director, Martin Scorsese for The Irishman. He is the new number one, I think. This is considered one of his masterpieces. It's his best reviewed film since Goodfellas. Better reviews than The Departed. That movie won Picture and Director.
He's a master of cinema. Why wouldn't they want to give him 2 directing Oscars?
Number 2 is Sam Mendes for 1917. He's pulling off some Iñárritu, Cuarón shit with this one. Those guys win Oscars all the damn time. So we'll see if Sam Mendes can win director if The Irishman wins Best Picture. Bong Joon-ho for Parasite. We had him at number 1 at some point. I don't see him beating Sam Mendes and Martin Scorsese anymore. I just don't think it's going to happen. It's a little wishful thinking.
But he seems to be a lock.
I think he is a lot.
How can Parasite get in without director? I mean,
exactly.
What?
Marriage Story is number 4 with Noah Baumbach. I mean, if that's just a top-ass contender, then why wouldn't you get Noah Baumbach in there? Look what he did with the movie. It was incredible.
The only thing I think is I am just afraid that he is Luca Guadagnino, who was also number 4 at this point in the year.
Oh, God.
It just gets like blow after blow.
But that movie was never in the winning conversation. I think that's
It sort of was.
No, it wasn't.
A little bit.
Number 5 is Tarantino in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I've said it before, he is absolutely snubbable here. But I think he's a safer bet than the others at this point.
Baumbach and Tarantino are snubbable. Unfortunately, I hate to say it about Baumbach. I wish he were like Kenneth Lonergan. Maybe he is like Kenneth Lonergan, where he cannot miss a beat. I hope it's that. So. And I think the real argument is like, who seems poised, take their place. You have, at number 6, Taika Waititi. If this is the Green Book of last year, Green Book didn't do enough directing-wise to warrant a director nomination, even though people loved it so much. Jojo Rabbit is a director movie. Very polished,
but it's not like well
he's
crafted.
All over it.
That's what they like
it kind of is.
No, it's not. The cinematography is not getting nominated.
No, but it kind of is that. It's like a well-crafted, like interestingly crafted tone movie. The Academy is more like exclusive about who they let into like the director category, but like DGAs, Golden Globes, they care more about if they like the movie. And if people like this movie enough, it will get nominated for director at those places.
Greta Gerwig, number 7 for Little Women. We might have another year without women, folks, but Greta Gerwig is probably the best bet to save that right now. But Little Women's not ultra strong. James Mangold, Ford v Ferrari, because Mel Gibson and Hacksaw Ridge.
Exactly.
Todd Phillips for Joker.
I don't think the Academy will go for that, even if other places did.
Yeah, I feel
like anyone, the Golden Globes give that movie a director nomination out of nowhere.
I can see Joker getting in without director, but what if that passion's just like, Jesus Christ, like they fucking love the Joker. Can you imagine?
My God, I don't know.
10, Melina Matsoukas for Queen and Slim, because if this movie is indeed a contender, then she might hop right up into that top 5, so that's why she's number 10. Lulu Wang, The Farewell. I think that movie's slipping, so Lulu Wang, like, farewell. Mariah Heller, Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Too slight.
Doesn't have
way
the hype.
Too slight for director.
Doesn't have the weight. Robert Eggers' Lighthouse.
Yeah, like maybe crazy surprise random nomination for the cinematography from the directors.
Best actor. Let's make this clear, folks. Joaquin Phoenix might fucking win, okay? Adam Driver's number 1 for now. Joaquin Phoenix might fucking win. It's just how I think it's gonna be. No grudge against the Joker. I liked it. You can calm down. Less controversy surrounding his performance. It's like a very safe Academy pick, like a Casey Affleck in A Manchester by the Sea or something. Acting his ass off in the movie. Incredible. Does all kinds of crying and screaming. Then we have Joaquin Phoenix, who is mentally insane, transforms throughout the movie. Really great performance, and overdue. That overdue card might push him to the winning conversation. I do think they're going to split awards. I don't think Adam Driver is going to sweep. I don't know if Joaquin Phoenix is going to sweep. And we might be biting our nails all the way up to Academy night. Who's going to win, Driver or Phoenix? I mean, Rami Malek won last year because that hype for his movie was just so strong. He had the fans rallying for him. The Joker has fans rallying for it.
But it's going to be hard for people who don't like this movie to vote for him because they see him as just being like ridiculous, you know? It could just be where like, oh, maybe Bradley Cooper's winning for A Star Is Born and then he doesn't get like a single award. I mean, yeah, I could see it happening for Adam Driver more than anyone else.
Robert De Niro, The Irishman.
How do you not nominate, like, when you watch a movie with Robert De Niro going through so many ages and then the ending of the movie is like him actually being like an old man who's really sad? Like, how do you not like want to give him like an award to cheer him up and to say, you know, we appreciate what you've done over the years, Robert De Niro.
Oh, they have to.
We're glad that you're back. Here's your nomination.
How could he not get nominated for The Irishman if it's a frontrunner? That's my question.
Yeah, exactly.
Leonardo DiCaprio, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He could be snubbable. They have snubbed DiCaprio before.
Yeah, in another Tarantino movie. It's
a goofy-ass performance. And, you know, maybe that's going to be good for it, like Wolf of Wall Street or whatever. I still think he's probably in there.
This is what it's come to. The best actor race is that crowded.
Jonathan Pryce and The Two Popes. Obviously, if we have two popes in, you got to have Pryce in, folks. Don't underestimate Pryce. A lot of people don't understand how big of a contender he may be. Antonio Banderas is next in line. I think he's getting pushed out because niche audience. Oscars have proven to nominate those kind of performances. You know, we've said before, Willem Dafoe at Eternity's Gate, Charlotte Rampling, 45 Years, that kind of thing. They still nominate it.
They do really like to nominate those, and sometimes they will kick out, like, the DiCaprios.
We have Christian Bale and Ford v Ferrari, who is officially lead, folks. Officially lead. And people say it's one of his greatest performances. I'm not sure he makes it, because look at this goddamn competition. Eddie Murphy, Dolomite Is My Name. After watching the film, I think it makes sense that he's around this position. I can see him getting some SAG love, and it truly is one of his best performances. But my evaluation of the film, his character doesn't seem to get as much like emotional attention as other performances here. You know, he's not crying and screaming. He's just being like very entertaining, energetic, and loud. Taron Egerton and Rocket Man, Taron and Elton are going around singing songs, screening their movie for voters, and everyone's having a good time. So you got to watch out for this movie.
That'd be pretty nuts if they just turned around and nominated him at this point. Daniel
Kaluuya, Queen and Slim, just seeing if that movie jump starts. Paul Walter Hauser for Richard Jewell. If this movie's like randomly like, wow, like I can't believe that this movie managed to hijack the Oscar race, then like who the hell knows what this guy can do. Best Actress, Renee Zellweger is the front runner for Judy. Everyone is screaming her name. She has solidified a strong frontrunner status right now, and it's going to be hard to take that down. Some people are saying that Charlize Theron and Bombshell can do it. Both these actresses have won before. In fact, they both won in the same year. Charlize Theron is probably the biggest threat to her because Scarlett Johansson, unfortunately, kind of losing that frontrunner status. People aren't seeing her as being as strong as Theron and Zellweger, who did more of this Oscar Beatty transformation into real-life figure. Saoirse Ronan for Little Women is number 4. After the premieres of this film, she has gotten in the race. With Little Women and Bombshell premiering, it really crowds up this race. I think that these next 3 are all in trouble. Alfre Woodard and Clemency. I have her here because maybe she's the Charlotte Rampling in 45 years. Maybe she's Married on Cotillard in 2 Nights. She's the movie that is more indie. People haven't seen as much, but my goodness, is she going to give a great performance? They're going to still nominate her. Maybe she doesn't get nominated everywhere. Maybe she misses Golden Globe and BAFTA or even SAG and just still gets nominated at the Oscars. Cynthia Erivo for Harriet. The movie's hype is really, really muted. So maybe she suffers from that.
But she also gives such a Beatty performance. Like, she is the movie. She's playing, like, an extremely Beatty role. I guess it just matters if people, like, literally don't give a shit about the movie.
Awkwafina in The Farewell. Unfortunately, I think she might go down with the ship.
You know, as much as I like The Farewell and I love Xu Zhen's performance, I wouldn't defend Awkwafina to the Oscar nomination. I don't think she needs an Oscar nomination for this performance as someone who likes that movie a lot.
And Jodie Turner-Smith for Queen and Slim. We'll see what happens with it. But I hear she's fucking great, so. Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, you have a new number 1 here.
I'm
gonna actually go out on a limb and agree with you, Cole. I think this may be our number 1, and we might have a sad Brad on our hands.
You know, he's had a great year. I kind of really was hoping that he would win the Oscar because between Hollywood and Ad Astra, like, what a year this guy's had late into his career. Time to give him an Oscar, but my goodness, like, Al Pacino is a threat, folks. If The Irishman wins Best Picture, a supporting actor statue looks really good with that package.
And how do you nominate 3 actors in that movie and not give one of them a single award? He's the standout performance in the movie. He's, like, amazing in every scene he's in. We see this happening in supporting actor races where people just cling to a frontrunner too early. I mean, it's happens in any acting race. Willem Dafoe getting his Oscar for The Florida Project. Laurie Metcalf getting an Oscar for Lady Bird. And then they start handing out these prizes. And lo and behold, they're just not getting, like, the awards. Al Pacino, like, might just start taking them. And Brad goes, what's happening?
Joe Pesci in The Irishman.
I'm surprised to find that some people are saying they think he's the best performance in the movie, and just I think that shows something.
Tom Hanks, Beautiful in the Neighborhood, playing Rogers. People love him. And in supporting, he can do big things.
And can he break his own curse? That is the ultimate question. And we will be very, very sad if he can't get it for giving an iconic and what people say is a perfect Mr. Rogers performance.
Anthony Hopkins and the Two Popes. We're predicting pretty big things for this movie right now, and Anthony Hopkins is just going to be part of that. Hopkins hasn't been nominated since the 90s. That's actually the only decade he was ever nominated in, and it happened 4 times.
Wow. We don't hear as much from him, but it seems like he's nearly a lead in it, so.
And another near lead is Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse, who, after seeing the movie, like, yeah, he could get nominated. It's a weird movie, but he could overcome that. And he's been the lone nomination for a couple different movies, so that's kind of his thing, isn't it? Willem Dafoe's insane in this movie. He's doing some Daniel Day-Lewis shit.
He's just continually proving that he is one of the best actors.
He's a madman. Look at his accent. Look at, like, his physicality. Insane. Transforms. I'm curious to see if he's just going to get in everywhere or if he's going to get in here but not there.
Like, he deserves to get in, but people just don't care about the movie.
Jamie Foxx in Just Mercy.
Apparently he gives an Oscar-worthy performance, but it's like, it's just mercy, you know?
Sterling K. Brown in Waves.
Another case where the movie seems to be holding the performance back from a nomination.
Alan Alda in Marriage Story. A lot of people are like, oh, why not throw Alan Alda in there if you're going to nominate 3 other actors?
I'd be shocked if he got in.
Yeah,
his screen time compared to the other performances is like...
And he kind of just like does an Alda thing, and it's like fantastic for the movie, but he doesn't like break new ground.
He blends too much in with the ensemble, I think.
Taika Waititi, Jojo Rabbit.
That'd be an atrocious nomination, to be honest.
It would be undeserved. He was very good, but his role is not worthy of an Oscar nomination. Yeah. John Lithgow for Bombshell.
Because his makeup.
He's the best male performance in the movie, but just not on the level of Margot Robbie and Charlize Theron. Supporting actress. Margot Robbie in Bombshell is the number 1 on their supporting actress list. Some of you might be screaming and clapping your hands. You're very happy to hear this. You love Margot Robbie. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's not happening for her anymore. She didn't get enough screen time in that movie, and we all know it. Bombshell is her performance. People say she owns the movie. And she probably has a lot of screen time, probably more than Laura Dern.
And I mean, she's playing a character that has to overcome a lot, obviously, just based on the plot. And Margot Robbie just proves again and again that she's like the real deal.
Look at Emma Stone and Jennifer Lawrence. Like, this is the stage in an actress's career where they can win an Oscar. Laura Dern in Marriage Story is number 2. She was looking like the front runner until we heard about Margot Robbie.
But she was easy to take down, I think. It's not hard for her to just get knocked into a nomination slot. She's not like giving a must give Oscar performance in this movie.
Florence Pugh in Little Women. The reactions in this film are all highlighting her as the MVP, possibly the best performance in the cast. Everyone's just eating her performance up. I can't wait to see what she's doing with it. She's had quite a year with Midsommar. It would be great to cap it off with a nomination. She's at number 3, so like, I think that her hype is super strong, even if the movie doesn't get in for picture. 4 is Jennifer Lopez for Hustlers. So many people rallying behind this performance.
She's perfect in the role, but it's so obvious for her to like take the role.
I don't know. People are rallying real strong behind her.
But like, how far can she go without getting on the movie any other nominations? Like, shouldn't she be the sole nomination in the movie? I don't know.
Sure. Zhao Shuzhen for The Farewell.
That's sad that this has come to number 5. It really is.
And I'm struggling to keep her on there. We will be sad if she's not nominated Oscar morning. Because she was the best performance in that movie. She deserves it. Funny, relatable grandma. What more do you want in a supporting actress role? But The Farewell is slipping, and sometimes when movies slip, they snub everybody along with it. Look what happened to Claire Foy last year with First Man. She couldn't hang on. Annette Bening for The Report. Could she pull off a lone nomination? I mean, I hear she's just great. Thomasin McKenzie, Jojo Rabbit. I hope that she can, slingshot up there.
But I don't think it'll happen.
Nicole Kidman in Bombshell. It's not looking that likely that they'll get double nominated.
It could be weird. Like, you wouldn't have thought that Woody Harrelson would get nominated for 3 Billboards. Makeup, transforming for this. Like, they're going to like that. I think someone's going to nominate her.
Margot Robbie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Not happening anymore. Just not happening. Maggie Smith in Downton Abbey. Please God, can this movie just not get nominations? Like, we don't need this. The fact that, like, all of the development was created off the big screen, and they're just putting it on the screen, and everyone's like, we don't need to nominate this movie for shit, folks. Octavia Spencer for Loose. Unfortunately, it's just going to be that performance that we go, she should have been nominated that year.
Everyone's going to forget her, and it sucks.
They've been nominating her for, like, fine performances in Hidden Figures and Shape of Water. And then she gives a freaking great performance, and they're just like, sorry, we didn't see Loose.
And, like, Oscar worthy. Ugh, disgusting.
Original screenplay, Marriage Story. If Marriage Story's not winning Best Picture, dear God, it can win screenplay. Parasite, number 2.
Number 2?
Twists and turns.
You're saying that would win.
Juggling genres.
You're saying that would win if Marriage Story didn't win.
I am saying that. It's funny, it's twisted, it's thrilling, it's clever, the dialogue's great, it has social satire. My goodness, what a hell of a screenplay. I do think it would be winning.
Yeah, I know it's getting nominated. I know.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's not going to win, folks, but it's probably solidly in there for a nomination. Knives Out, I think that this could be a lone nomination right here. Looper got some screenplay hype, but this one is just loved. Comedy, mystery, that's all writing. The Farewell could get maybe like a screenplay and a supporting actress, maybe just a screenplay. Little bone, they throw it a little bone. Like Beale Street got screenplay. Bombshell doesn't look like a mandatory screenplay movie, but if it gets into picture, you might see it. match up Queen and Slim if it surges.
I think Queen and Slim could get a screenplay nomination without getting a Best Picture nomination because it's Lena Waithe. It's a very brave script.
The Report,
No, The Report's not happening. Goodbye.
Waves, Booksmart, don't really need to put those on there, but here they are. Adapted screenplay, Irishman, we have winning because it's gonna go along with the Best Picture, folks. Jojo Rabbit, number 2. Jojo Rabbit wins on Oscar night. You gotta say, oh my god, are they really gonna give it to Jojo Rabbit?
We can maybe imagine like them giving Jojo Rabbit an Oscar, but can we see that taking it over The Irishman? Like, really?
Two Popes, number 3. Anthony McCartan's name is all over that film, even more than Fernando Mireles. It's a writer's movie. He's getting nominated. Little Women, an adapted screenplay, adapted from a classic novel by Greta Gerwig.
That can't
It's an adapted screenplay's dream. Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. If that movie gets like 2 nominations, it could be like one of them. And Joker, which even if it gets into Best Picture, it's not really a screenplay movie.
No.
Just Mercy gets in if it like enters the Best Picture race. Hustlers would be weird and probably not happening. And then Dark Waters is like, come on. That movie's not going anywhere. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Stay tuned for our video where we predict all the other categories. Sure, you're very excited.
Who's your favorite movie?